Theme 15. Keeping fit 1. 1. Fast food. Fast food. Example.
I know, easier said than done. It's the future. It's the only way. Fast food.
In this country, we're spending $110 billion a year on fast food.
2. Anxiety. Anxiety. Example.
It's not a disease or an abnormality, and it isn't necessarily tied to depression, anxiety, or self-esteem.
Others associate hiccups with intense emotions or our response to them, laughing, sobbing, anxiety, and excitement.
3. Appetite. Appetite. Example.
I became nauseated, lost my appetite, I ached everywhere, had increased pain in my rather mangled foot.
Rome, in fact, used to import oysters from London at one stage. I think that's extraordinary. Anyway, so Rome shaped its hinterland through its appetite.
4. Archery. Archery. Example.
A doctor from Brazil said he had never seen anyone survive a carotid artery rupture.
Again, I don't have any of that, so I'm entirely free. My aorta is fixed. I haven't got to worry about it, which is a rebirth for me.
5. Asset. Asset. Example.
We create this asset, and we leave this trail of digital crumbs behind us as we go throughout life.
And this has made something that everybody wants to learn, and the fact that we have English is now becoming a huge strategic asset.
6. Vegetable. Vegetable. Example.
There is a farmer named Joe, his vegetable garden, the chicken shed, and a mailbox.
Commodities are things that you grow in the ground, raise in the ground, or pull out of the ground. Basically animal, mineral, vegetable.
7. Depression. Depression. Example.
And it's findings like this that we believe hold some of the clues for why we see these very significant sex differences in depression.
For the next 42 years, he suffered from nightmares, extreme anxiety in public, isolation, depression.
8. Harm. Harm. Example.
And I personally know hundreds of people who are alive today because of harm reduction.
When she innocently thought it was sugar, than in the other case where she thought it was poison and no harm occurred.
9. Dietitian. Dietitian. Example.
We have several cardiologists, preventive cardiologists, psychologists, dietitian.
Today, it's not often that you come to such a clinically focused presentation. There's a dietitian on the lineup.
10. Disorder. Disorder. Example.
We can see that migraine is a neurological disorder affecting multiple parts of the brainstem, cerebral hemispheres, and the nerves themselves.
This looks like a diagnosis of bipolar disorder, and it looks like medication would probably help you. Then they might refer you to a prescriber.
11. Heart attack. Heart attack. Example.
Did you hear about Eddie? He died last week. Massive heart attack.
And this low-density lipoprotein, or LDL, is deposited in the arteries where it clogs them and leads to heart attack.
12. Nutrition. Nutrition. Example.
Fonio touted on the labels of cereals, breads, nutrition bars,
cookies, pastas, snacks. Why not?
It happens over a long period of time during which a child endures painful and debilitating cycles of illness, depressed appetite, insufficient nutrition, and inadequate care.
13. Ingredient. Ingredient. Example.
The first ingredient is to create a culture of passionate concern for the greater good. The third ingredient is to focus on inner development and personal growth.
14. Insomnia. Insomnia. Example.
Its symptoms, including fatigue, insomnia, irregular heartbeat, indigestion, and fever, were so strong.
And the SSRIs, they are better than the drugs that came before them, but they still have a lot of side effects, including weight gain, insomnia, suicidality.
15. Intake. Intake. Example.
And this is ability to, in real time, to actually take measurements of caloric intake as well as expenditure through a Band-Aid.
With other high-protein diets, you might lose weight at first, since by restricting your food choices, you are dropping your overall calorie intake.
16. Junk food. Junk food. Example.
And instead of a balanced information diet, you can end up surrounded by information junk food.
The junk food industry is really great at pressing our pleasure buttons and figuring out what's the most pleasurable.
17. Muscle. Muscle. Example.
There are 4 types of tissues found in the human body: connective, muscle, nervous, and epithelial.
Rather, he watched from within as his body shut down, limb by limb, muscle by muscle.
18. Obesity. Obesity. Example.
That changing the food environment is really going to be the most effective solution to obesity.
And effectively determine the likelihood of developing breast cancer and obesity and diabetes already when the baby's in the womb.
19. Therapy. Therapy. Example.
Some are political, therapy-based, focused on self-improvement, or otherwise.
I'm working hard. Lots of therapy, speech therapy, physical therapy, and yoga too.
20. Portion. Portion. Example.
Our little portion of oneness is given a name, is told all kinds of things about itself, and these details.
A portion of this video was sponsored by Salesforce. More about Salesforce at the end of the show.